Okay, guys, hopefully this is better quality than last time. Okay, so like I promised, I was going to tell you guys about my childhood and to let you guys know like where I'm coming from as a person, and to let you know where my addictive personality like really started and all that. And I just want to make a disclaimer that addiction does not discriminate. It doesn't care how much money you have, how much money that you came from, if you were poor growing up. It doesn't matter if you're what color you are, what race you are. Addiction doesn't discriminate, and I truly believe that I was born with the addictive personality gene. So growing up, I had both of my parents. They were amazing. My mom was a teen mom. My dad was 21 when they had me. My mom was 18. And even though they grew up very poor, they didn't have much. When they had me, they didn't have much either. But they worked really, really hard to give me and my brother everything we needed. My brother's 2.5 years younger than me. So they really worked hard at not letting us see their struggle. They worked separate shifts. Me and my brother had basically everything we wanted and more. We had a really small family. It pretty much consisted of my mom, my dad, my mom's sister, and her kids, and that's really it. My grandmother died when I was really young, but she was a really big part of my life up until I was about 7. She ended up dying around that time. She died really young of cancer, and that really affected me a lot because growing up, she was always there in my life. I loved her so much. We had a bond unlike any other. I'd go there every weekend. I would call her nonstop. So I would say like that's like the really first like heartbreak I experienced. And I remember the day like it was yesterday when my parents had told me that she passed away. I kind of knew that something was going on. I knew that she was sick. And I knew that my mom was out of the house a lot, and I ended up finding out that was, to plan her funeral and stuff, and that was really hard on our family, losing my mom's mom, my grandmother. So my parents, growing up since they were young, they did have, their disagreements, but they were madly in love with each other, so that bond always kept them together, but they did argue because my dad is an addict. I come from a long line of addicts on both sides, on my dad's side and my mom's side. My mom is not an addict, thank God. But she was pretty much the rock, the stability in our family, while my dad was doing the best he possibly could, and I know that he loved us with all of his heart, but he wasn't ready to let go of the drinking and going out and partying lifestyle yet. Like my mom wanted him to be over. She wanted him to be over that, and she wouldn't mind if he would, go out and have fun, but like he would overdo it. And over the years it kind of became apparent that they wanted different things in life. They had different values, both of them, though that they loved each other deeply and they really wanted to make it work for me and my brother, and because of the bond that they had for so long. Long story short, it didn't work out. So they split up when I was about 8. And then a couple of years later, my mom met somebody else, and that was my stepfather. Me and my brother grew up with him, and at that time my dad was kind of like MIA. We would still see him like every couple weeks, but he was going through his own stuff mentally, I think, and that's why he was more absent than ever at that time when my mom was kind of getting into her new relationship. I'm sure he was going through a lot mentally, and I'm pretty sure that's when his drinking got a lot worse. But he was always there. You know, he wasn't gone completely, but we started seeing less and less of him. And I always craved for more attention from my dad. I just always had something missing in me, and I think that's part of why my addiction became so strong later in life, because I never felt fulfilled for some reason. And I remember that as a little girl and then like growing up. But anyway, my stepdad was great. He raised me and my brother and my stepsister, which was his daughter. Very, very great. He was a great guy. My mom was happy. So this brings you to like my preteen years. I had a lot of trouble sleeping. I started experimenting with like weed. I started, in middle school, I started like drinking, and I started just, in that experimenting phase. I started being really curious, and so I had a lot of trouble sleeping, and I would take sleeping pills to, get some sleep because I'd be up for days. And that led to, like, a drowsy feeling, like the sleeping pills. And so I would start to, like, take more and more because the drowsy feeling, I would try to fight it, and it would be, like, a high. And I think that's where, like, I really started realizing, I had that, like, addictive personality. Like, I wanted to get high. I started smoking weed when I was 13. I was drinking a little bit, not that bad. I slowly started just acting out more because my mental health issues were becoming more apparent as I was going from, like, 13, 14 into like 15 and 16. I was really depressed. I started having like boyfriends, and of course getting my heart broken, that comes around that age, your first heartbreak, and that really tore me apart. After that, I really just lost respect for myself. I stopped caring about everything. From there, I started like taking pills. Around like 16, I started taking hydros and stuff. My drug use started to get harder, I would say. I was drinking more heavily. I was smoking weed every day. And I loved taking hydros and pills. I loved the way it felt. From like 16 to 17, I started like, I got introduced to cocaine and more, even harder drugs. Heroin. I don't really want to get into the like drug use, but I was partying a lot. I was going out all weekend, all night. I was partying just pretty much whenever I could. I was sneaking out of the house, breaking my mom's rules. My mom was struggling a lot to control me, and she couldn't understand why I was making the decisions I was making, because she worked really hard and tried really hard to be the best mom she could, and she just couldn't understand why I was doing what I was doing, and it really broke her inside, I think. It took me a while to realize that. what I was doing to her and to my family, and how that affected them. So anyway, yeah, the drug use got worse. I was putting myself into some really bad situations, which hopefully I can get into more detail as these videos go on. I'm just trying to give you guys a gist of my life and trying to show you guys that it doesn't matter if you come from, you know, a really loving family like I did. You can still, you know, fall victim to drugs. And I feel like since I started using at such a young age, like at 13, that my brain was kind of stuck in that cycle. And I ended up falling in love with heroin. This was after I was experimenting with tons of drugs. I did a lot of cocaine. I dropped acid. You know, I did pretty much any drug. I was smoking crack. Yeah, nice to meet me, guys. Nice to meet you. My name's Allie. Yeah, I used to smoke crack. Okay, yeah, this is a pretty crazy first video, but I'm just letting you guys know about, like, where I'm coming from. But anyway, the drug I ended up falling in love with was heroin. And heroin, was my biggest vice for a really long time. Years of my life. And I ended up going into rehabs and stuff in my later teens. I was in and out of rehabs and in and out of mental institutions because my drug use was really risky. I would take a bunch of pills at once. I didn't really care if I died or lived. Life didn't really matter to me. School didn't matter to me. My depression had become so dark and bleak that I just wanted to be fucked up all of the time. My mental state was deteriorating, like, deeper and deeper. It was really bad. I remember my moods were all over the place. I didn't care about anybody. I was really selfish, and heroin has taken a lot from me, mentally and physically. And hopefully I can get more into that as the videos go on. But I went through bouts of being clean and then relapsing a couple times. But as of now, I had just about a month and a half ago, I went to detox finally. And I ended up getting on a methadone program, which has helped me a lot. And yeah, I think that's gonna be it for this video. I'm gonna get more into depth in my next videos, my next couple videos, and I'm gonna try to narrow it down to just certain points to make it easier for you guys to digest. And I will, like, take certain parts of my life and then go deeper into detail with those experiences and take you guys with me through those times, so you can get an even better understanding, and I can actually, you know, tell you guys some stories, and I'm sure you guys will be really interested in all this stuff I have went through. So, okay, that's it for this video. If you guys could like this video and share it where you can, that'd be awesome. And subscribe. Thank you.